Your monthly subscription box from postflybox.com includes all the materials needed to tie a dozen flies, along with some extra goodies. The CF baitfish is a saltwater fly pattern intended to imitate a wide range of saltwater baitfish. Despite its somewhat large size, it readily sheds water and is remarkably easy to cast. Underwater, the Craft Fur seems to come alive in terms of motion. The CF baitfish starts with a size 2 heavy-duty saltwater hook. Begin by getting the hook firmly secured in the jaws of your tying vise. Load a bobbin with a spool of white unithread. Get the thread started on the hook shank behind the eye, and after taking a few wraps rearward, snip off the excess tag. Continue taking thread wraps about 3/4 of the way down the hook shank. Chartreuse craft fur is used to create the tail and back of the fly. Snip a 1-inch square free from the backing. Strip out the lower, shorter fibers from the butt ends. The more you strip out, the easier tie-in will be. Using sharp tying scissors, snip off any overly long butt ends. Measure to form a tail 2 hooks in length and snip the butt ends again, this time square and even at approximately the midpoint of the hook shank. Take tight wraps of tying thread to anchor the material to the shank all the way back to about the hook point, then end with your tying thread at the midpoint of the shank. Pull 2 full-length strands of the chartreuse crystal flash free from the rest and find their midpoint. Lay the midpoint against the near side of the hook at the location of your tying thread and take a couple of thread wraps to secure it there. Pull the forward-pointing portion back, then begin anchoring the flash to either side of the hook shank with thread wraps. Go all the way back to the base of the tail. End with your tying thread about halfway up the hook shank. Trim the crystal flash off so the strands are just a little shorter than the tail. The fly should now look something like this. Pull an ample clump of pearl ice dub from the packet and locate the midpoint of the clump. Place the midpoint against the near side of the hook and take thread wraps to secure it. Pull the forward-pointing portion back and over to the far side and continue taking thread wraps to secure it there. Some of the material will initially pull free, but that's okay. Go back to the chartreuse craft fur and repeat the preparation process to produce a clump similar to the one used for the tail. This time, however, flip the material around so the butt ends point rearward on the fly. Secure the material to the top of the hook shank really well, going all the way up to the back edge of the hook eye. Try to keep as much material on top of the hook shank as you can. Now, do the same with a clump of white craft fur, but this time attach it to the underside of the hook shank. With everything well secured and separated top and bottom, first pull the chartreuse fur back over top of the hook shank, then pull the white portion to the underside of the fly. Use your tying thread to build up a small thread dam behind the hook eye to kind of hold back the fur, both top and bottom, like so. Wetting your fingers and pulling rearward will help to coax the fibers back even more. With the fibers sufficiently pulled back and out of the way, reach for your whip finish tool and use it to do a 5 or 6 turn whip finish, seat the knot well, and snip your tying thread free. A flexible, waterproof adhesive is needed to keep the fibers swept back. Use a brush or a popsicle stick to lightly spread the adhesive onto the front of the fly until it extends from the back edge of the hook eye to about the hook point. A chip clip works really well for holding the craft fur in place while the adhesive dries. The clip is not absolutely essential, but does help to keep the body of the fly shapely. This fly definitely benefits from eyes. To affix them, squeeze out a small amount of gel adhesive onto a scrap piece of paper. Use your bodkin to pick up a little bit and place a drop on the near side of the fly, just rearward of the hook eye. Repeat the process on the far side of the fly. Pick up one of the 3D eyes and place it into the adhesive on the near side of the fly, then apply some pressure to set the adhesive. Pick up another 3D eye and repeat the procedure on the far side so the eyes are mirror images of each other. The finished fly should look something like this.